Imagine this scenario. Two people decide they want to write a book. Person A is waiting for the perfect moment, maybe a peaceful morning, the right mood, and a cup of coffee by the window. Person B, on the other hand, writes for just 30 minutes every morning, regardless of how they feel. 3 months later, who's closer to finishing their book? You guessed it, person B. That's not magic. That's consistency through habit. Because while person A was waiting for the next wave of motivation, person B was showing up, quietly, consistently, habitually. You don't need to do 100 push-up once. You need to do 10 push-up daily. Because what you do repeatedly shapes who you become. This is called compound growth. Motivation is like a friend who shows up whenever they want, sometimes early, sometimes late, and often, not at all. This is where successful people make a different choice. They don't wait for motivation to come knocking. Instead, they build habits that show up whether they feel like it or not. Think about this, brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every morning asking yourself, do I feel motivated to brush my teeth today? You just do it. It's automatic. That's a habit. And that's exactly how successful people design their lives. They turn the important things into habits. They don't rely on feelings, they rely on systems. Habits are their secret weapon. Motivation is exciting. It makes you feel like you can conquer the world. But the problem is, it fades. It's like a sugar rush. You feel pumped up for a moment, but then comes the crash. Habits, on the other hand, are steady and dependable. You don't need a jolt of inspiration to follow through on them. Once a habit is built, it becomes part of who you are. You don't think, you just do. You know, most successful people started with motivation, but they knew it wouldn't last. So they used that temporary energy to build permanent routines. It's like using the spark of motivation to light a fire that keeps burning on its own. They didn't depend on motivation forever, they used it as fuel to build discipline. Think about this. Do you think all athletes feel motivated to train every single day? Do you think authors always feel inspired to write? Do you think CEOs wake up pumped for every meeting? Of course not. They feel tired, bored, stressed. Just like you and me, but they do it anyway. Not because they're superhuman, but because they have built habits that guide them, especially when motivation disappears. Think of motivation like a matchstick. It can light a fire, but it burns out quickly. Habits are the logs that keep the fire going long after the match has disappeared. Success comes from what you do every day, not what you do once in a while when you feel inspired. Discipline built on habit. You know, buddy, habits make hard things easier. In the beginning, waking up early might feel like a battle. But after a few weeks of doing it consistently, your body adjusts. It stops being a struggle. The effort drops, and it becomes your new normal. This is the magic of habit. It reduces resistance over time. What once felt hard becomes automatic. Let's compare two inner voice. Motivation versus discipline. Most people overestimate the power of motivation and underestimate the power of repetition. But success isn't about how hyped you are, it's about how consistent you are. A small, repeated effort beats a big, one-time push every time. You don't need to run a marathon every day. Just lace up your shoes and run a little, every day. Let's look at two examples. The first one is, students. The ones who ace exams aren't always the smartest, they're often just the ones who studied a little every day. They didn't wait to feel motivated to open their books. They made it part of their daily routine, like brushing teeth or eating breakfast. That's how progress works, small steps, done regularly. Second one is, going to the gym. Many people sign up in January, all fired up with New Year's motivation. But by February, the gym is half empty. Why? Because motivation ran out, and habits weren't built. The people still going to the gym aren't there because they're motivated, they're there because it's become part of who they are. Motivation says, I feel good today, let's go. Discipline says, I don't feel like it, but I'm doing it anyway. Which voice do you think successful people listen to more? They use motivation when it shows up, but they don't depend on it. They build routine, rituals, and habits that support their goals. The real goal isn't to be motivated all the time, it's to build an identity around your habits. You want to go from, I want to write, to, I am a writer, or from, I want to eat healthy, to, I'm a healthy person. This identity shift happens not with motivation, but with action, repeated, consistent action. You become what you do daily. Remember, brother, motivation is a guest, discipline is the foundation, and habits are the bricks. And the good news, you don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Start small, pick one habit. Something simple. Maybe it's reading 5 pages a day, walking for 10 minutes, or writing for 15 minutes every morning. Keep it doable, keep it consistent. The power is in the repetition. Every time you show up, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. Eventually, it adds up. Tiny habits, over time, lead to massive results. It's like compound interest in the bank. You don't see the benefits immediately, but keep going, and one day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. That's how successful people build momentum, by stacking small habits day after day. One of the most life-changing ideas you'll ever hear is this: you become your habits. That means, every time you act, you're casting a vote for the type of person you're becoming. Let this sink in. If you write a page every day, you're not just writing, you're becoming a writer. If you run each morning, you're not just exercising, you're becoming a runner. If you study a little daily, you're becoming a lifelong learner. It's not about reaching a goal. It's about becoming someone new through your actions. Successful people don't say, I want to lose weight. They say, I am the kind of person who eats healthy and moves daily. Small actions lead to big momentum, and once the ball is rolling, it's much easier to keep going. Remember, it's easier to steer a moving car than one parked in the garage. Let's talk about failure. What happens when you miss a day? Of course, there will be days when you fall off track. That's normal. You're human. You know successful people fall off track all the time. But the key is not perfection, it's consistency. They don't say, I failed. They say, let's reset. Don't miss twice. If you skip one day, fine. One bad meal won't ruin your health. One missed workout won't destroy your progress. One unproductive day doesn't make you lazy. Get back the next. What matters is your average over time. Think long term. Stay consistent. Be kind to yourself but keep showing up. Successful people don't have flawless routines, they have flexible ones. They know how to bounce back. Let's look at some well-known real-life examples. J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter in cafes, broke, depressed and alone. But she had a writing habits, and that habit changed her life. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, wrote every week, even when no one was reading. He didn't wait to feel inspired. He wrote anyway. Years later, he became a best-selling author. See the pattern? Success is not about rare moments of motivation. It's about daily habits that move you forward, even when it's hard. Motivation is great to get started, but habits are what keep you going. They're the difference between a dream and a plan, between a wish and a result. If you want to succeed, whether it's in school, work, fitness, or personal goals, don't wait to feel motivated. Build systems. Create habits. Trust the process. Final message to all of you. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your habits. So make sure your habits are strong, intentional, and aligned with the person you want to become. Because it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. That's what separates the successful from the rest. So don't wait for motivation to strike. Build a system. Start small. Show up daily. Make it part of who you are. And most importantly, be patient. Habits don't show results overnight, but they always pay off. So the next time you think, I don't feel like it. Remember this. Motivation is failing. Habits are a decision. Success is the result. Your future self is already cheering you on.